Today we're talking about everyone's favorite Dark Knight and mine, Batman. Welcome everyone to Level Up, a show by gamers, for gamers. Today, we're talking about Batman Arkham Asylum, a game that came out in 2009 and just blew everyone away. I, for one, am a huge Batman fangirl, and this really impressed me. There has not been a good superhero video game in quite a while, and they're scattered few and far between. This was definitely a much needed addition to the franchise. Today, we're going to look at the comic book origins of Batman, the game itself, including design, gameplay, and storyline, and finally, my final thoughts on the game that revolutionized what it meant to be a superhero video game. Let's take a look at where Batman came from. Batman made his debut in Detective Comics number 27 in 1939, created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger under the umbrella of National Publications, which later became the DC Comics we know and love today. Kane and Finger drew inspirations from contemporary 1930 pop culture to create much of Batman's look, personality, methods, and weaponry. In addition to this, Batman had predecessors in the Scarlet Pimpernel and Zorro. Like them, he performed his heroic deeds in secret, averted suspicion by playing the fool in public, and marked his work with a signature signal. Now, there have been many different interpretations of Batman's official origin story over the years, but I will make it simple. As a young boy, Bruce Wayne... Wait, Bruce Wayne and Batman are the same person? Holy crap! I guess you learn something new every day. Anyway, Bruce Wayne was horrified and traumatized after he witnessed the gruesome murders of his parents by a mugger as they were walking home from the local theater. This horrific sight is why Batman doesn't kill or use a gun, even though in earlier comic book issues he does. The cold-blooded murder of his parents drove him to train his body to peak physical perfection and fight crime under the cover of night in Gotham City. Local police often mistook him for a masked vigilante who is causing harm to the city. Fast forward to 2009. Superhero games from Marvel or DC in the last 2 decades are few and far between. Superman 64. Anyway, the public was in need of a game that was immersive and told an original story instead of adapting a movie plot or television show. Something that would revive the superhero game genre and restore hope with us comic book fans who have been disappointed for so many years and have been waiting for something new and exciting. Game developer Eidos Interactive obtained the rights to make a Batman game in spring 2007 and approached then little known Rocksteady Studios to be part of the project after seeing their game prototype. By May 2007, development had begun on the game's concept with full production beginning in September that same year in conjunction with Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment. Paul Dini, the writer of everyone's favorite Batman cartoon and mine, Batman the Animated Series, was approached by DC Comics to write a story for an original Batman game. Dini was intrigued by this idea, believing that few Batman games were based on an original idea. The core aim of this new original Batman game was to make the story and gameplay engaging enough for players to spend 8 to 10 hours completing it, especially those who weren't always Batman fans to begin with like I am. The game and story were developed in succession with each other, with the mechanics requiring the story to be built around them. Arkham Asylum was chosen for the setting of the game because it confined Batman, the player, to an area containing several enemies. Whereas in an open world type setting, Batman could receive help or return to the Batcave, making it pretty easy to distance himself from confrontation. The dev team wanted to include iconic aspects of the Batman mythos and it decided early on in the production to have Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and Arlene Sorkin to reprise their roles as Batman, the Joker, and the infamous Harley Quinn from the animated series. Although the game features references to plot events in both the animated series and Batman comics, the story does not directly follow any singular story. It took 21 months to complete the game using Epic Games' Unreal Engine 3. They wanted to make sure that every aspect of the game was as authentic as possible, including all movements and facial expressions. No detail was overlooked. Eidos president Ian Livingstone mentioned that one developer spent 2 years programming Batman's cape. His cape! Using over 700 animations and sound effects to make sure it moved and sounded realistic. The dev team intended to include other characters such as Mr. Freeze within the game, but they were later removed because they didn't fit into the story they had created. Batman's iconic vehicles, the Batmobile and the Batwing, were considered as gameplay elements within the game, but developing unique control mechanics and gameplay segments for them would have taken too much time and would have ultimately compromised the overall quality of the final product. They do, however, appear in the game, but you as the player cannot control them. It would be another 6 years before the players could control the awesomeness that is the Batmobile. To develop the game's overall aesthetic, the main aim was to create designs that would combine comic book style with realism. Batman's design was heavily influenced by the work of comic book artist Jim Lee, who drew Batman as a strong, muscular character who could believably take part in extreme combat. Alan Moore's 1988 graphic novel The Killing Joke influenced the Joker's design. If you have read this book, you'll know that it is a very dark book that depicts the Joker for what he truly is, insane and deranged, and that's the direction that Rocksteady wanted to go with him. They definitely hit the nail on the head and made all the characters stay true to their comic book origins. Designs for the asylum departed from comic interpretations of a large mansion and instead opted for an entire island with hints of Alcatraz prison, composed of multiple wings and buildings to allow the more curious player greater variety and opportunities for exploration. Lighting played a very important role in creating the proper dark tone of the game. It was primarily used to highlight points of interest and to draw you, as the player, onward in what are otherwise boring corridors. Priority was given to keeping action scenes under the player's control rather than showing them in the cutscenes. This made the game more immersive and made you feel like you actually were Batman. Batman Arkham Asylum is an action-adventure game viewed from the third-person perspective, meaning Batman is always visible, and the camera can be rotated freely around him. The opening areas of the game are linear, serving as a sort of tutorial for the different moves and approaches available to you as the player. Once you emerge on the island, you can freely explore the game, given some areas are locked until you reach certain milestones within the game's storyline. You can use Detective Vision, a visual mode which provides contextual information, tinting the game world a bluish color and highlighting interactive objects such as destructible walls and removable grates, the number of enemies in an area, and their status, such as their awareness of Batman's presence, and shows civilians and dead bodies. This mode is also used to follow footprints, investigate odors, and solve puzzles. Batman has access to several gadgets which he can use to explore the area around him or fight off enemies. The Batarang is a very useful gadget, allowing Batman to temporarily stun enemies or trigger remote devices. Other useful gadgets Batman has at his disposal include the Bat Claw, which can be used to interact with remote objects such as vent covers or to grab nearby enemies, and the Cryptographic Sequencer, which is used to override security panels, open new paths, or disable various asylum functions. Some areas remain inaccessible until Batman acquires the necessary gadget to overcome certain obstacles. One of my favorite gameplay mechanics is that you don't have to stay adhered to the main storyline. Instead, the game actually encourages you to explore the game away from the main story to find and solve riddles left behind by the one and only Riddler, who hacks into Batman's comm system to challenge him with various riddles. Objects can be collected, and some of the Riddler's puzzles require you to find areas related to the answer to a riddle and scan it with your detective vision. The game world has 240 collectible items such as Riddler trophies, chattering Joker teeth, interview tape with some of Arkham's inmates, giving you more information on different characters within the Batman universe, and cryptic messages left in the asylum by its founder, Amadeus Arkham, that tells you more about the asylum's dark history. You have the choice to traverse enemy-controlled areas of the asylum using stealth or direct combat. The game's free-flow combat system uses three main buttons: attack, stun, and counter. This system allows Batman to move freely and quickly between enemies, chaining attacks together until all enemies are unconscious. Combining these three main abilities keeps Batman attacking while moving between enemies and avoid getting attacked himself. The more combo attacks that are chained together, the faster and more agile Batman becomes, and special attacks that can better defeat your enemies become available as well. Enemies react as you take out their buddies, their level of fear increases and alters their behavior, they will adopt new patrol routes, requiring you to adapt to the changing situation. You can also use predatory tactics through stealth, including silent takedowns, dropping from overhead perches, and snatching enemies away, or using explosive gel to knock foes off their feet to tilt the odds in your favor. A number of sections of the game actually require you to use stealth to avoid alerting Joker's henchmen, because doing so will result in disastrous consequences. Arkham Asylum features a series of challenge maps separate from the game's main story that can be unlocked as you progress through the game. Others are available as optional downloadable content. The maps focus on the completion of specific goals, such as eliminating successive waves of enemies in combat and subduing patrolling enemies while using stealth. The methods and variety of abilities used to achieve these goals earn an overall performance score that is ranked online against others. This game will keep you occupied and immersed for hours of amazing gameplay and storytelling. As always, Joker is up to his usual mischief and has just assaulted Gotham City and has been captured by Batman. He then transports Joker to Arkham Asylum, which temporarily houses many members of Joker's gang who were transferred there following a fire at Blackgate Prison. Seems pretty suspicious if you ask me. Batman feels uneasy about just leaving Joker alone with Arkham staff members, believing he allowed himself to be caught, so he accompanies Joker into the asylum to keep a close eye on him. Batman's suspicion becomes a reality when Harley Quinn takes control of security and busts Joker out of the asylum with the aid of a corrupt Arkham guard who then kidnaps Commissioner Gordon. Joker threatens to detonate bombs that have been hidden all around Gotham if anyone tries to enter Arkham, so that means the Dark Knight is on his own as he tries to gain back control of the asylum and stop Joker once and for all. His first task is to locate Harley Quinn and rescue Commissioner Gordon, which turns out to be more difficult than it sounds. While pursuing Quinn, Batman is exposed to Scarecrow's scare toxin and begins to hallucinate, seeing things such as a dead Commissioner Gordon and even the corpses of his dead parents talking to him. Despite all this, Batman is able to fight off the Scarecrow's toxin and snap back to reality. He eventually finds Quinn, knocks her unconscious, and is able to rescue Commissioner Gordon. You would think that this would be it, right? Wrong. Joker is nice enough to direct both Gordon and Batman to a containment chamber where they find a withered Bane, who has been experimented on by Dr. Sarah Young and depleted of his venom, leaving him too weak to fight back. Joker isn't done with Batman just yet. Joker pumps Bane up full of venom and frees him, forcing Batman to fight him. After defeating Bane, Batman retreats to a secret Batcave hidden on Arkham Island, where he discovers that Joker has returned to the asylum to gain access to Dr. Young, who has been developing Titan, a more powerful version of the venom drug that gives Bane his super strength. Her intent was to use it to help her patients survive more strenuous therapies. Young finds out, much to her disgust, that it was Joker who was funding her research to eventually create an army of superhuman henchmen. Her refusal to give up the formula is the reasoning behind the Joker's return. After another bout with Scarecrow's fear toxin, Batman finds and rescues Dr. Young, who has been taken captive by Victor Zsasz. Unfortunately, an explosion kills Dr. Young and the Joker is able to attain the completed batches of Titan he needs. The trouble doesn't stop there, as Harley Quinn releases Poison Ivy from her containment cell in the Botanical Gardens, but Batman easily defeats her. He then tries to enlist Ivy to help to create an antidote for the Titan formula. She then tells him that an antidote can only be made from spores found in the sewer beneath Arkham, which just so happens to be the lair of the big and bad Killer Croc. On the way to Croc's lair, Scarecrow strikes a third time, hitting Batman with multiple doses of fear toxin at once. While Batman is occupied, Joker injects Ivy with the Titan formula, which enhances her powers and causes her to ravage Arkham Island with giant mutant plants. We go back to Batman as he pursues Scarecrow into the sewers. He thinks he has Scarecrow caught, but Croc gets to him first and he disappears. Not being able to do anything about that, Batman focuses on getting the necessary spores to make the antidote. Getting the spores is not an easy task, as he is chased around the sewers by Killer Croc. Once Batman obtains the spores he needs, he returns to the Batcave to make the antidote and stop Joker. Unfortunately, Batman is only able to create one dose of the antidote before Ivy breaches his cave and subsequently destroys all of his equipment. The solution? Go back to the Botanical Garden and defeat Ivy once again. Once she is subdued, the mutated plants are halted, and Batman can once again focus on stopping the Joker. The Joker announces to the entire island that preparations for his party are finally complete, and Batman is the guest of honor. He requests that Batman report to the Asylum Visitor Center, where he encounters applause from Joker's henchmen welcoming him. Batman knows that with Joker, things are not always what they seem. Turns out, Joker has captured Gordon and attempts to shoot him with a Titan-filled dart. Batman acts fast and leaps in front of Gordon, taking the shot instead. Batman strongly resists the Titan in his body and refuses to change to the disappointment of Joker. Seeing as Batman ruined Joker's fun, he feels the need to take the party into his own hands. Since Batman ruined his plans, an angry Joker shoots himself up with Titan and proceeds to mutate into a hideous monster. In a makeshift arena on the roof of the Visitor Center, Joker challenges Batman to fight him as Titan-induced monsters in front of news helicopters, but again Batman refuses to change and uses the only antidote on himself. Upsetting Joker once again, this final battle comes to an end when Batman provides the knockout punch to Joker with an explosive gel-laced fist. In the aftermath, those affected by Titan begin to revert back to their normal selves, including Joker, who is restrained and taken back into custody as GCPD retake control of Arkham Island. With the Joker subdued, Batman is free to return to his crime-fighting ways in Gotham. He overhears a call over the radio about a crime involving Two-Face in progress and races back to Gotham in the Batwing, setting up the story for the game's sequel, Arkham City. I absolutely love this game. The gameplay is immersive, the voice acting is awesome, and it tells an original Batman story that we've never seen before. This, in addition to the awesome aesthetics of the game, really make you feel like you are Batman. That's why it gets my final rating of a 10 out of 10. This is a definite game that you need to add to your collection. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, leave a like below and don't forget to leave a comment. Also, subscribe today for additional content, and also feel free to connect with me on any of my social media pages. I'm always posting updates on future videos. This is CompWiz92, and I'll see you next time.